know. We are sitting in a TA in Breezewood, Pennsylvania, and that's the hood is up. The windshield wipers are still creating issues, especially in the snow and the sleets. It's this driver's side wiper just isn't getting the stuff off the windshield, and after the little crisscross with the two wipers, it perhaps damaged this left one. So, but
go ahead and run your windshield washer.
Okay. Getting that. You know, these two wipers crisscrossed at one point. The two of them, like, that one got loose and that one went down the outside of that other arm. I don't know. See if it got damaged.
Make sure they were snug enough.
Okay.
I know you guys, you said that they had been snug down. You guys have tightened them down.
Yeah.
And, I just want to make sure that they hadn't gotten loose and that they were tight. This will be nice and tight now, so I was able to give a little bit more, a little tighter.
Okay. See how far that one is bent?
And the only thing I can say that could be done about that is we can tweak this arm, bend it just a little more so that'll give a little more pressure.
Okay.
That may help. This blade, the inner blade, it kind of floats.
Man, I wish I had a louder voice when engines are running, and especially in these shops which have like no soundproof. I mean it's like everything echoes and it just gets louder and louder, and I can't overcome it. And that goes back to about 3.5 years ago. I lost my voice for a whole, like, almost 6 weeks, and finally went to an ENT specialist, and he did all kinds of tests and looked for, sinus infection, and looked at the vocal cords, and there was nothing wrong, but diagnosed that that my voice was muscle bound. And it's very similar to like stuttering, but certain consonants, vowels, words. At that time, I actually couldn't speak an entire sentence because it was so acute, and it kind of came on after. I had a cold that wasn't actually that bad, and it set in like laryngitis. But after the laryngitis, after the cold, and this still was a problem. And it's like this sudden, in one sense it wasn't sudden, because I'd been having vocal troubles toward the latter part of my time in Los Angeles. And I was going to a vocal coach, was paid for by CBS Records. Luther Vandross actually set that up for me because he didn't use the lessons that had been given to him, and he said, "Andrea, do you want them?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I went and took vocal lessons from this particular person for about 1.5 years, and I really struggled. And the more it just seemed so weird, because the more I went to the lessons, the worse it seemed I got. Then another 2 or 3 years passed, went up to Portland, did the singer-songwriter, did 2 or 3 albums up there, but I was really struggling even more. Then this happened in San Diego, which was like quite a bit later, a good 3 or 4 years more. But what the specialist told me was that I had improper vocal instruction that had created this muscle bound all around the larynx, and it just increases and increases. It gets worse and worse until it shuts the voice down. And there's actually nothing wrong with the vocal cords, nothing wrong with no infections, no issues, except that the muscles involuntarily push too hard. And so I've spent the past 3.5 years working on this. For about 2 years I didn't talk. Just didn't talk much at all, because it was embarrassing. When people would constantly say, "I'm sorry," or "Are you sick?" You know, "Do you feel bad?" No, I don't feel bad. Just can't talk. So it's called dysphonia. I've learned a lot about it over this past year. Shania Twain had this happen to her, and that's actually what helped me to understand more about it. She did an interview and found out about her troubles. A lot of singers seem to have this issue. There are a lot more singers than you ever hear about that have this issue. But it happens to anybody. It's not just singers. And I've learned a lot about it. The past couple years, a lot more information has started to come out about it because of people suddenly losing the ability to speak. Well, it was very frustrating when I first started, after I found out, okay, it's muscle bound. It's called muscle bound. It's also called dysphonia. And I looked for a therapist, which is what the doctor had said. You need a therapist now. So I went and looked to see who worked with this kind of issue, and they were like somewhere between $375 and $450 an hour, which at the time we could not afford. And I just figured I could figure it out. So for the next 2 years, I just couldn't figure it out, and I stopped talking as much as possible, unless to Jay. I didn't answer the phone. Unless I absolutely had to talk, I didn't search. I found a vocal doctor who wrote several books, and he's very good. And even though I still actually do need to find a therapist and work with a therapist, because there are things I just don't seem to be able to work out, to overcome. But in the meantime, I've been reading his books. He has exercises. I've been doing those. And this past 8-9 months, I have come a very long way. And that's part of why I wanted to do a video channel, was to challenge myself to talk a whole lot more and to start to come out of this. I've only been able to change it to a certain point. I have no volume. I can't project. If I try to project, my voice just goes away. So, I don't know. Anyway. So if you have ever suffered from this or know someone who has, comment and tell me, what you have discovered that's helped you. I'd be very interested in knowing. Okay, I popped back and got these books that has really been helping me. Here's one. It's called Winning with Your Voice, 5 minutes today. 5 minutes a day to a more effective winning voice. That's a good book. And it's Dr. Morton Cooper. Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. A quick, simple plan for finding and using your natural, dynamic voice. It's another book by Morton Cooper. And then Stop Committing Voice Suicide. This is a really good book. There's lots of excellent exercises. So these 3 books have actually made a huge difference in my life in the past 9 months. And I'm actually talking. I can actually put sentences together, but sometimes still, like if it's noisy, it creates this push, and the minute that I start to push, voice goes away. And it's frustrating very much, but still, it's like just now when I was talking to that guy, it was very difficult for him to hear me. And that's, a lot of times, that's exactly what happens. So anyway, and to give you some idea of what it came from to this, here's a little clip of a video that I did back when I was singing professionally in Los Angeles. It's a music video. And talk about projection. Take a listen. I got the pain. You lose the passion. Why do we bruise so easily in the name of love? Whoa, I got the pain, but not forever. Oh no, now you're back and you're down on your knees. You better pray for love. Somehow it seems so sad to think my love was all we had. Now you say you wanna come back in. I gotta be strong. I gotta hold on and remember. I got the So you might imagine that coming from that to having no voice, not being able to project, people can't hear me 2 feet away, it's been quite a life challenge, a huge life challenge. And it served to be an obstruction for quite a while. Coming into this change that Jay and I decided to make to drive a truck together, that was a big concern to me, that, you know, people wouldn't be able to hear me in critical situations. And even going through CDL school, there was question marks there. But I got my CDL because failure was not an option. That simple. So, we're still waiting for windshield wipers.